So with all these insanely popular indie games coming out lately, like Power World, Helldivers, Lethal Company, Baldur's Gate, and others, it reminded me of another very popular indie game that came out a few years ago. Some of you may remember a small little indie game that kind of blew up back in 2021 called Splitgate. This game took the revolutionary idea of taking Portal and turning it into an action-based arena shooter similar to Halo. For obvious reasons, this idea absolutely blew up and people everywhere, including myself, were playing the mess out of it when it first came out. So much so that its servers had waiting lines just to get into the game when it first released on consoles. But alas, fame is often fleeting, for as swiftly as this game rose to stardom, did it also come crashing back down to mediocrity. But I'm here to tell you that despite it all, this game is just as good now as it was back then. Splitgate is a free-to-play, arena-style first-person shooter made by 1047 Games that takes heavy inspiration from Halo while throwing in the curveball of adding portal mechanics from the game Portal. I don't think I really need to explain how an arena shooter works, but for the non-gamers in the back, arena-style shooters are first-person or third-person shooters that focus on fast-paced movements in enclosed maps. These maps often have weapons and or power-ups scattered around them that players can acquire to upgrade themselves and or change their basic starting loadout. Think of games like Quake, Doom, Halo, or even Overwatch. Oftentimes, a key aspect of these types of shooters is the fast-paced movement. These games often have some type of movement mechanic that adds a level of skill to the game, such as strafing or rocket jumping. In Splitgate's case, that would be the portals. Now, you may assume that these portals are the biggest appeal of this game. And you'd be absolutely correct in your assumption. The portal mechanics are what make this game. Similar to the game Portal, there are specific surfaces around each map that you can place portals on. Just place one portal on one surface and another on another surface, and you instantly connect the two locations, allowing you to seamlessly jump between the two. On top of jumping from portal to portal, you can also shoot through them. The moment you place two portals, you can see through them like a window and shoot projectiles through them. Though it's important to remember that enemies can shoot through portals too, including your own. You can only see through your own portal, but anyone can pass through and shoot through anybody else's portal, ally or enemy. It's typically not advised to go through enemy portals as you may run right into the enemy team, and sometimes jumping through your own portal may not save you either as someone can easily just follow you through as you try to escape. You can, however, remove portals you've placed blocking enemy access to it, as well as destroy other enemy portals by throwing EMP grenades at them. Now, obviously, if you're going to make a game themed around one gimmick, you would want to make sure it works pretty well, right? Well, trust me when I say that the portals are perhaps the best part of this game. The portals open the door for a variety of different tactical options, from flanking, repositioning, escape routes, vantage points. Look, I'm no pro, but man does this game make me feel like I am with the advanced maneuvers I do sometimes. Cause my gosh does it feel satisfying to place a portal right behind someone mid-firefight to suddenly flank them from behind, or to kill an unsuspecting player from a portal that was placed at just the right angle. I swear I feel like I'm pulling off esports level moves every time I play this game. You might think that all these portals add a bit of skill to this game, and honestly, not really. The learning curve is pretty slow, but the skill ceiling can be a little high in this game. If you've played a first-person shooter before, especially any of the Halos, then you'll do just fine in this game. But obviously, if you start thinking a little more strategically with your portal placements, you'll be able to pull off some high-level kills, and I'm sure if this game had a competitive scene, there would be kill highlights like no other. But as long as you can think quickly and are a bit clever with where and how you place your portals, you'll be able to get kills with the best of them. As smooth as the portals may be though, I don't think they would be as enjoyable if everything didn't work so well. Each weapon, while generic and seen plenty of times before, does each of their respective jobs near perfectly. The assault rifle, your basic go-to weapon, does moderate damage but nothing too special. Shotgun, okay at longer ranges, absolutely deadly up close. Carbine and burst rifle, solid medium to long range weapons that call for a little more accuracy. The plasma gun, like the assault rifle, but does more damage and can overheat. Everything just kind of works. And of course, take this generic yet well-honed and near-perfect gunplay and add the seamless function of the portals, and you have yourself the formula for something that deserved the popularity that it held at one point. Now all of that was just the mechanics. If you want to know about the overall experience of playing this game, I want you all to think back to simpler times. Times when you didn't have the crippling weight of adulthood on your shoulders, when you could play a game for hours and not feel guilty about it. Back when you were playing classic Halo or even Call of Duty as a kid with your siblings, friends, or online. Somehow you managed to get a quad kill and you hear the announcer say overkill as you think to yourself that was the coolest thing you've ever done. That is what this game is like. This game will take you back to your childhood with its generic yet well-polished gameplay. From the announcer calling out kill streaks and ridiculous kill medals like Kill Action Agency and Kill Lidoscope, to the game modes that come right out of Halo like Oddball and Juggernaut. Now, while you may think this is a blatant ripoff of Halo, Splitgate made it a point to take a very self-aware approach to this and first-person shooters as a whole. It's very aware of what it's doing and it plays into it, which I think is rather clever. It knows that its weapons can be found in a dozen other games, its game modes were copied and pasted from games like Halo, Call of Duty, and Quake, and its maps aren't particularly interesting. But what it does have is a very well-made gimmick and some solid gameplay. It knows that its portal mechanics are the biggest thing it has going for it, and it sticks to what it knows it's good at. I mean, if you don't believe me, one of its game modes is called Teabag Confirmed. It's like Kill Confirmed from other games, but instead of picking up dog tags after a kill, you have to teabag the body to confirm the kill. Now, unfortunately, this self-aware tone it takes has led to a slight lack of identity, as the visual aesthetic and design of this game are kind of all over the place. It seems as if the game is supposed to be some big sports event in whatever universe it takes place in, but that's never distinctly conveyed. Either way, at the end of the day, you don't need some grandiose story or revolutionary new gameplay mechanic to make a fun game. Sometimes you just need to put a new spin on what's already there. So after all this backrubbing I did for this game, you might be wondering why this game's player base dropped so heavily. Well, ironically enough, that was partially because of the massive jump in popularity. You see, this game actually started out as a college project made by two Stanford University students. Inspired by the mechanics of the game Portal, the two developers decided to make an FPS based around those mechanics, releasing a demo and eventually a beta for it back in 2019 on PC that had a surprisingly positive reception. Despite that positive reception though, it struggled to keep a consistent player base. That is until it was released on PlayStation and Xbox back in 2021, which led to a massive boost in players that went far beyond expectations. This explosion in players had a negative and a positive effect. The negative was that it caught the developers completely off guard and absolutely blew up their servers. This led to the developers being unable to keep up with the update demands of their newly acquired audience, as well as server issues that were never quite fixed. However, the positive and more important thing it did was that it put Splitgate on the map. That massive popularity jump placed them in the sight of investors, which netted them not a small amount of money, turning what started out as a college project into a $1 million company and allowing them to increase their size and hire greater talent. With this boost in size and money, 1047 Games decided to forego updating Splitgate and start working on a bigger project that would take place in the Splitgate universe. Though the game has seen a pretty big dip in player count since that popularity jump, the game is still up and active. While the developers are no longer releasing major updates, they are keeping the servers open and doing maintenance as necessary. And since there's crossplay, you have dedicated communities from 3 different platforms keeping the game alive. And best believe, if their new game is anywhere as good as Splitgate was, players will be all over that one too. Unfortunately, there hasn't been a lot of news on this new game they're making, but with any hope, we'll hear something about it this year. Not sure if this video will ever be seen by anyone on their development team, but if I could give a few suggestions for their new game, please add sliding and ledge mounting to this game. Sometimes the movement feels a little stiff, and I believe sliding and mounting would add some much needed fluidity to the movement, on top of pairing nicely with the portal traversal. Now, if you really wanted to stretch it, I think adding double jumps and wall running similar to the movement in Titanfall on top of the portal traversal would be really fun. Also, having other grenade options would be nice. The MP grenades are useful, but it would be nice to have a good old frag grenade to help clear out the enemy team. I don't plan to give detailed histories like I did for Splitgate in all of my videos, but I wanted to highlight this one because it's a story of someone making a genuinely good product that led to success, which I think should be appreciated. This game was one of the earlier examples of very popular indie games that deserved their popularity. While pretty simple in concept and similar to many other games, I think this game shows that if executed well and shown the proper care, a small game like this can thrive and in many ways compete with AAA titles. At the very least, I know that I still have a lot of fun playing this game. Thank you all for watching, and thank you for all the wonderful comments you left in my last video. I'll be honest, I was completely surprised with how well that video did. Like, I need you to understand that I had all of 7 subscribers when I posted that video. To see that number shoot up to over 100 over the span of a week or so, let alone the views for the actual video to reach over 11,000 at the time of this video anyway, is insane to me. So again, thank you all for taking the time to watch the nonsense I put out on the internet, and I'll try my best to keep putting out what I hope will be some quality content.